We're ready to go.
Okay, thank you everybody for those that are here for joining. This is part of the training for the Systems Information Station for the Skills Contest for 2025. So I am Todd Martin. I'm with Arnold Companies, ag equipment dealer in central Minnesota, and I'll be doing the portion here, and the rest will be a link for you. I'll kind of explain that as we go. So we are a Case IH dealer, ag equipment dealer in central Minnesota. We also have other short lines, Kloss, Kubota, and a multitude of other short lines that we do to cover the full ag line of equipment. If you've heard of us, we've got 7 stores, now 8 located throughout central Minnesota, kind of from Albert Lee up to St. Cloud is our general area. So Information Systems is a station that we added into the skills contest approximately 4 years, 4 years ago. As you all know, everything is changing from being your hard copy books to being online and immediate. Why are we doing that? You'd walk into the old equipment dealers and you see this big wall of books that the technicians have to dig through to find the torque specs on something. Okay, well, that really doesn't exist anymore. In the industry, whether it's in ag equipment or truck or construction, it's all pretty much the same. We're using an ag emphasis here because that's what we deal with. So all of that has gone online in different features and fashions. And the reason for putting it into the skills contest was just the importance for you technicians as you get out into the industry of knowing that there's different systems out there, but it's all about the same. We all, they all work a little bit different, but still the same ideas are there. You got to know where to go and how to get there to find the correct and accurate information that you need to be able to do the repairs that you're doing. So in the Case IH world, just to give you an idea, so you don't go into the skills contest blind and not have any idea of how to run our system, we have a multitude of stuff in our information systems. Okay, ETIM is one of our systems. That's Electronic Technical Info Manual. AI Tech Assistant is a new one this year, meant to help technicians be more productive and be able to look up that equipment and that information quicker. THD is Technical Help Desk. So if you get to a point that you're stumped on something, that's the area that we go to put in that question or that support or support request to the help desk and then pass it up to the engineers to get to the bottom of the solutions. We won't be doing any of that in skills, just wanted to bring it up as far as information systems. And then we also have other stuff, DQR is an example, dealer quality reporting. We fill out electronic forms when a piece of equipment comes off the truck as to how it arrived at the dealership. Was the oil low? Was the air pressure low? Do we have oil leaks? So on and so forth. So a lot of different systems that fall into the information systems category. So where do we go to access all that? Okay, well, Case IH has what's called a dealer portal. Okay, in that dealer portal, and you won't have to know any of this for the skills contest. We'll have you to the places you need to go. But in that dealer portal, we have all our information systems housed. And much like your phone or a lot of systems out there now, we've got different apps for all those different areas that we can go to. Some of them we talked about, the ETIM, the AI Tech Assistant, the Help Desk, Web Academy, your continued education with Case IH would go through here, warranty, parts lookup, so on and so forth. So we go into our dealer portal and then we branch out into the ETIM or AI Tech Assistant or wherever we're trying to go. Okay, so for the skills contest, as I said, this is the information system station. So one of the stations that you guys will be doing. And these are the two pieces of the information systems that I just talked about that you're able to use for this contest. Okay. With the skills contest, there's a lot of rules out there. You can't have your phones with, so on and so forth. They don't want anybody cheating. Well, same thing with us in the computer that we'll have there in front of you. You're allowed to use the two different applications, the eTIM and the AI Tech Assistant, to access the information for the questions on your test. So we ask that you respect that and don't go off into Google and so on and so forth. Stay in those two systems at the computers that you're at. So as I said, I'm with Arnold Companies. We're doing the ag equipment side. The information systems station is broke into two. So then truck centers will be doing the truck equipment side. They weren't able to be on this call today, so they are doing a recording that will be another link for you guys to be able to follow and watch. So we'll jump right into, and this is where we'll have you set up when you get there that day. This is the eTIM landing page. So to give you an idea, and some of this stuff will be relevant when you're looking up the information for your test questions that day. Some of it won't be relevant, but I'm going to share an overview of it with you so you know what it does and how you're able to move around. So when you go into eTIM, this is where it lands. Okay, this is basically showing connected tractors that we have across the US. Okay, as you go in, the 536 means there's 500 units in that area that are connected into the eTIM system. As more and more stuff becomes connected, that fills up. Okay, in this page, there's a lot of stuff that you can do, that you can narrow it down by filtering. And I'll go into a live demonstration later, show you a little more of the filtering. But the biggest thing to know here, this is the overview. These are all the pieces of equipment down here. As you would see, without filtering this number of pieces would be in the 500-600 range, okay, that are actively connected to the system. Some other stuff that it does in here, it has a tab for subscription and agreements, warranty, DQR, as we talked about, maintenance, and then we can do notifications through the connected equipment to the customers. So this is the first tab on the top. So in eTIM, you've got the dashboard, My Fleet, product, documents, and search tab. Okay, so this is the My Fleet tab, and that's where it comes to when you log in. So that's where we'll start you. Okay, the second tab would be the dashboard. So now I just went over to the dashboard tab. Again, that gives me an overview of the fleet, gives me some of the stuff I've looked at, so on and so forth. Again, a little bit vague because I have not narrowed this down to a certain tractor. Okay. On your test, you'll be looking at a certain tractor with a serial number, so on and so forth, as most of the information systems out there require. Third tab to talk about briefly is the product tab. So if we're going in here and I'm going to tell you to look at a 340 Magnum today and find some information on that. Okay, one way to get to that would be to come in here and go to tractors, and I can't do it on this, but I'll show you that a little bit later. Expand that out or click on here, and you'd be able to get to that 340 Magnum. Okay, not the ideal way to do it, as most of you probably have learned, or I would want you to learn today, is you would want to go through a serial number search so it is specified for the exact piece of equipment that you're working on, and serial number breaks will not lead you down the wrong path then. Okay, but in here you can navigate by categories. Next one is the document tab. Okay, this tab isn't even available unless you've selected a product or a serial number. Okay, it doesn't know what you're looking for, so it's gotta have something. Okay, so you can see here now up by the serial number box, I've got a 340 Magnum selected there. So now it knows what I'm looking for. Then it can give me documents that address, or I can find the service manual, ops manual, all that information once I've either assigned the serial number or gone into that product and chose a 340 Magnum. And the last tab is a search tab. Okay, very useful. We can go in there once we've assigned things. We can search. We can search for knowledge articles, product bulletins, air codes, so on and so forth. The information that we're going to make you look for may possibly be gained by going to that search tab. Okay. Now, important thing to know here, if you have not assigned a product, okay, there's no product assigned here, then you're in the search tab for all products. Well, if we do a search for all products, number one, it's going to be really slow, okay? And you have a certain amount of time in this skills contest, okay? But it's going to be really slow if you search all products because it's searching a lot of information. Number two, it may not be specified to the piece of equipment that we're looking for. In today's example, I'm going to tell you to look for low pressure standby for a 340 Magnum. Okay, well, low pressure standby on all products is going to be different across the board. So it's going to have a real hard time finding it. Okay, the second way you can do is if you've narrowed it down to that product and especially that serial number, now you've got a bunch of different information that you can search for there. Okay, now we can search for those fault codes, okay, or kits or capacities or consumables. A lot more information that we can search for if you've got that serial number or that product chosen there, whichever way you decide to do it. All right, so that is our ETIM system in a real quick overview. And we'll walk through most of that stuff again in a live online demonstration, so that'll help you remember it. But that's just a real quick overview of the different tabs across the top of our ETIM information system. Okay, next we will jump to an exciting one that just came out this year, and it's called CNH AI Tech Assistant. Okay, so we all know things are going to AI. We're bringing AI into stuff. Okay, well, it used to be as we search for stuff in the ETIM that we talked about, you may search and search and search and not find stuff, or it takes you a while to get there, but you'll always find it. It just takes a while to get there. Well, one way to speed up productivity is they've started using AI to pull all of those pieces together. So now with AI, we can search service manuals, operation manuals, knowledge articles, all that information at one time. Okay, again, driven by either serial number or by choosing the product. Okay, my advice to you would be to definitely use a serial number. If you don't, you may not get the correct information, and you want every one of those test questions right. Again, we'll show a live demonstration of this in just a minute, so we will jump past that. Okay, once we do go in and choose that live serial number, now it's going to ask us, much like any other AI system would, start a chat. What do I want to know? So I ask the question, and I can be as specific as I want or as general as I want. And as if you guys have worked with any search engines, Google or anything like that, you really see that it makes a difference by what you search by, what kind of answers or results you're going to get. Okay, so that's just a real quick couple slides. Again, you want to choose product choice, a Magnum row track, or serial number, and the ideal choice would be serial number. All right, So I will go into a live demonstration then. Again, we talked about in the skills contest, you're only able to utilize eTIM and the AI Tech Assistant, and we will have both of those windows open for you on the computer when you come to that station. We'll also have somebody there that, we know computers and sometimes things go wrong. All of a sudden the window shuts down. We'll be there to help you get back in quick if you need to at that point. So, let me, here is the example we're going to use for today's lesson. Okay. And you don't need to remember this stuff. I just wanted to show it. So I'm going to use a Magnum 340 with this serial number. Okay. And this is not the same stuff we'll have on the test. So you don't need to necessarily write anything down here. Nothing here is the same as it will be on test day, um, contest day. I'm gonna look for three answers there. Okay, what is the spec for low pressure standby will be number one. Show you a couple different ways to get to that answer. What is the max flow with a high flow pump? Okay, again, all specified to this serial number. And then number three, what's the range for fuel injector protrusion? Again, on this serial number. Okay, same thing on test day, not going to switch you, or contest day, not going to switch you up on serial numbers. We'll keep you on the same serial number, but the questions will all be about a specific serial number product. All right. Any questions on that so far? Okay, I am going to switch screens here then. Give it just a minute to switch over. And now we should be switched over. Let me get rid of that so you don't have to see that. All right, so here we are in eTIM, and this is like we talked about that My Fleet landing page. Okay, screen looks a little different. I'm zoomed in a little different. I can zoom in. If you knew where the tractor was that we were specifically working on, we could zoom all the way into that serial number tractor and we could click on it and we could get right to where that needs to go from this page. Okay, we could go right into that serial number here. That would take us into the pages about it, so on and so forth. But in this example, you won't know where it is. Now, the other thing we could do is we could search down here for it. All right. The other things we can do here is we can filter. Okay, this has got all of our locations selected. Okay, Arnold's a Wilmer, Alden, Glencoe, St. Martin. Maybe I just want to choose the St. Cloud location. I can narrow it down to that. Now, if I zoom out on the map a little bit, you'll see that it makes quite a difference with how many tractors we have listed in that area. Get rid of that one. Okay. So a bunch of different differences there when you filter down. Okay. You can filter down by other stuff, by customers. You can filter down by product again. Okay. You can choose product, so on and so forth. But ideally, we would want to use a serial number and find that serial number here. Okay. The other way we talked about choosing it is if you didn't have a serial number, you may want to just go into the product tab. We can go to tractors, ag tractors, and then we would have to know that this is a Magnum. And the example that we're going to use is a 340 row track. Okay. So now I've selected that 340 row track. Okay, now I've got to select a serial number break. Again, you'd have to know at least that it's in between this serial number and this serial number, so on and so forth. Okay, but you could go about it this way. So there is a way to go about it, but again, we're better off if we'll go back to the My Fleet tab. we're better off if we go ahead and put that serial number in here. Okay. If I hover over the documents right now, you'll see, if you can see that on the screen, I get a little red slash mark there. I can't go into that screen because, as I said earlier, the Documents tab is not available until you put in a serial number or assign a product to that. Okay. The Search tab, I can go into that. Okay. But right now, it's got me searching on all products. So if I open this window like I had on there, I can search knowledge articles, but that's global. That's searching all combines, tractors, everything. Okay. Service bulletins, product improvement, special tools. I don't have a fault code search there because a fault code search would be specified to a product. So if I was looking for a fault code, I would have to get more specific and specialize that to that product. Okay. So again, that will change as I put the serial number in. So let's go back to my fleet, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that serial number in. G340 KKRK 04504. So once I put that in and hit the enter button, now it switched me right over to the Documents tab. Okay. In the Documents tab, this is what's known as our Smart View. Okay. We've got that up here in the corner. This is a Smart View of this tractor, Magnum Row Track, model year 2020 to 2024 with CBX drive, Tier 4B final, this serial number. Okay. So two ways you can know if you're on the right serial number is you've got this one here, or up in the corner here, it says Magnum AFS Connect and shows you a little brief description of the tractor. I've got a little window in the way here. Okay. So there you know by glancing up there that you're on that Magnum 340 row track. If you hover over it, it'll give you the serial number so you know you're on the right serial number. Also gives you some more information there, gives you the engine serial number if you're looking for something on the engine, or you can go into configuration and you can see what that tractor was ordered with. If we go in there, it'll give us all the information. And in ag equipment, we sometimes get into things as variante codes, so on and so forth on the different products. So just not super important, but something to know that there's a lot of powerful information here that used to be in books. Now it's all housed right here. Okay, so we'll go back to here. We're going to start looking for the first question, or what we have today, which is what is the specification for low pressure standby? All right, so where would we look for that? Well, we've got our Smart View here. We've got alerts. We've got product improvement, knowledge articles, so on and so forth, fault codes. This is where we could see if a fault code came in for a customer, so on and so forth. Okay, we can see we've got an alert on this one that tells us that the backup battery voltage is below normal. Okay, happens this time of year. Things aren't charged up yet. All right, over here on the left, we've got a tab for service manual, operator's manual, software guide. Okay, a ton of information here. And if I was to go through all of this, you guys would all be offline and not watching anymore because it would be too long. Okay, but for the contest questions, or most things that we'd want to find out, so the spec for low pressure standby. Where would we usually go? Well, we'd either go to a service manual, or maybe we'd use the search. Okay, so we're going to try to get there by just showing you an example of using the service manual. So if I click on service manual, the nice thing about online information systems versus a big book, okay, a big book we'd pull out, throw it down on the desk, and we'd look at the table of contents. All right, where our table of contents is here, so we can look down And we know that low pressure standby, well, that would probably be in hydraulics. So if we expand on that, now we can go to hydraulic systems, click right there, and boom, it takes us right there without going through the whole paging through 500 pages to get to the right spot. Okay, so if we look in here, it's got hydraulic systems, low pressure standby. Where would we find that? Would that be under variable displacement, remote control, combination pump, so on and so forth? Well, in the whole hydraulic systems overview, we've got windows over here, pressure test, low pressure standby. Would that maybe be a place to find it? Let's just click on there and see. Okay, complete each of the following tests in order shown to record the pressures in the table below. Low pressure standby setting, main PFC pump. So let's click on that, and everything is a hyperlink, so it will come right up for you. Okay, and there it tells us testing at the power beyond coupler. Okay, and we're doing a low pressure standby test here. Install a gauge. Okay, nice part is we can print these pages out. We can make them a PDF or we can print the pages. Supply pressure, low pressure standby reading at the pressure compensated as required in a low pressure standby setting of 348 to 400 psi. Okay, so that tells us there's our answer. Okay, we want to be specific, 2 to 300. This is actually a big range, which is good. Okay, if we were looking for a bar reading, we would want 24 to 27.6 bar, okay, or PSI 348 to 400 PSI. Okay, so that gave us our answer right there. We'll go ahead and fill that out and move on to the next test question. Let me get rid of that window and go back to our service manual. Okay, so we can go ahead and close that down. We found that, and we found that in hydraulic systems and pressure test. Okay, may be that easy, may not be that easy. Another way to find that is we could have just went into search. Okay, instead of going into the service manual, we could have went into search. We would we'd want to tell it what we want to look for. If we don't know, let's just leave that blank. Capacities, consumables. Okay, we don't really know what we want there. So let's just search low pressure standby. And let's see what it comes up with. And we're searching on one product here. If we searched on multiple products or all products, it would have took about 5 times longer than that. Okay, so now in here, we've got different service articles, flow compensator, adjust low pressure standby. Okay, it may tell us in there, it may not. Pressure flow compensating pressure test, low pressure standby, twin flow PFC pump. Okay, may tell us or not. Same thing with main PFC pump. Okay. Again, be specific. There's a difference in the main PFC pump or a twin flow. Okay. So know what you're looking for. But if we go to this one, that'll take us basically, if you recognize it, that's the same place the other way took us. And if we go down, there is our pressure reading that we wanted of 348 to 400 psi. Okay, so we'll click out of there. Again, that was searching to be able to go through and find that. So 2 different ways to get there, but both very sufficient and however you want to do it. Okay, so let's go back to the Documents tab. And the second thing we were going to look for was what is the max flow for a high flow pump on this tractor. Okay, so maybe the customer calls in or they're talking with a salesperson and we want to know if the implement that he's going to put on this tractor is going to take too much hydraulic flow, if we have enough flow to satisfy it. Okay, if you're out there troubleshooting it as a technician and it's not operating as it should, are we maxing out the flow? Okay, so where can we go to find that? Would that be in the ops manual or the service manual? Okay, we're going to try the ops manual this time. Okay, so if we click on the ops manual, it tells us here we've got this one. It was written in October 19th of 2019. Okay, if we click on there, again, nice that it doesn't make you page through everything. It brings it up as a workable document. Okay, some different stuff you can do up here. Right now, it's looking at all these categories: general, functional data, technical data, operating, service, or capacities. You can unselect all those and just choose capacities and operating. Okay, now that limits down what you're going to see in there. Okay, so technical data, max flow may be under technical data or it may be under functional data. I'm going to leave them all selected for now and we'll see what shows up. Okay, so where would I look for high flow pump um, max flow? Let's try going under working, see if we got anything there. Hydraulics again, remote valves, preparing for work, see what we can find here. Okay, so under there, and this is all in the ops manual, so you could have pulled that out from under the seat if you're in the tractor and looked at it, but here it makes it easier for us to find it. There we've got one that says flow capacity. Okay, so if we look at this, standard pump system, if we scroll down, high flow pump. Okay, so the question is the max flow for a high flow. Okay, and this one has a CVX transmission. So available flow at the pump or at the couplers. Okay, so depending on what you're working on or what the question, this was just maximum flow out of the high flow pump. So it would be 58 gallons US per minute. Okay, so there we showed you an example of getting through that, getting to that answer through the operator's manual. Okay, so the first time we went through the service manual, second time operator's manual. Again, we could go back over to search, put in high flow capacity. It may find it, it may not. It's got the twin flow. I don't see high flow, but I know I found it in the other way. So just to show you, a lot of information there and different ways to get to it. So just be aware of both of those. Okay, let's go on to the third option. And for that, we'll go a little bit different. Again, so the third question is, what's the range for a fuel injector protrusion? Okay, so we could go, and I'll just show you real quickly. We could go service manual. We could probably go in, and I made these pretty easy, not saying that they'll be as easy on your skills contest day. Service manual under the engine, where would I look there? Probably fuel injection system. And under the fuel injection system, if I start looking through, is there something on fuel injectors? Here's fuel injectors and measure protrusion. Okay, so that's another way that I could get there. Okay, same way we did the other two ways. Okay, we're going to jump over and just show you an example of the AI Tech Assistant. Okay, again, in the skills contest, you can use either or. Sometimes the AI tech assistant may get you all the answers, sometimes it may not. So you need to be able to use one or both of the systems. If you find the answer, don't second guess yourself unless you've got time, but don't want you to be confused by the two systems, but they'll get you to the same place. So we're going to go ahead and put that same serial number in here. Okay, again, you could select the product in here, go all the way down and select that tractor. But ideally, if I can teach you anything today, make sure we learn use the serial number if at all available, because you will get, I don't know how many times we had people order the wrong parts because we were on a different serial number break. So I put that serial number in. Now it came up and it found that that's a 340 Magnum row track. So it gives you the disclaimer here, so on and so forth. So it just wants me to ask a question. So my question was fuel injector protrusion. So I'm going to do that and hit search. It's going to come up with what it thinks is the answer. Okay, to measure fuel injector protrusion, follow these steps. Now, this is the answer that the AI system came up with. Use a dial gauge to measure intrusion. Protrusion should be between 0.049 and 0.075 inches. Okay, it's got a reference there. So if we look down here, it gives us everything we need there, but we've got a hyperlink to the service manual. So the same place I just looked it up in the service manual, if we click on that now, it's going to take us right over to that same document that we just looked at on the service manual. So you can verify and know that, yep, that's really what I'm trying to do. And that flat out should be my answer. Okay. Brought this example up that we want you to be specific. Okay. Oh, about a half inch. Okay, even though a half inch, well, a half inch wouldn't fall in here, but about 0.5 or about 0.55 is not the answer we want. We want the answer of 0.049 to 0.075. That is the range of protrusion that is allowed on the fuel injectors. Okay, so as you can see there, nice feature that you're able to use AI Tech Assistant if that works for you. If you search and it doesn't work, I can tell you that on the eTIM, sometimes you can search there and that works just as well too. But just be aware of that and know that you can use either or for the test. If we wanted to search for another thing in the AI Tech Assistant here, we would add a subject. So just hit the plus here, takes us back to start a chat, and we're going to ask a new question. Oil level check. Okay, it's going to look and it's probably going to pull up an ops manual this time and tell you how to check the oil level. And it may pull up a service manual reference also. Okay, no, it pulled up an ops manual and it shows you where the dipstick is on the tractor. So, all right, so that's our AI Tech Assistant, the eTIM, and the things that you're able to utilize for the skills contest for this year. Any questions there or anything else I can show you? You guys that are on have the advantage that you can ask questions today, so. All right, if there's no questions, appreciate you attending, paying attention. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea. Again, use serial number, utilize the two areas, eTIM and AI Tech Assistant, to answer the questions. And as you all compete in the skills contest, we will wish you the best of luck.